What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Reddit video here on the Life Stories channel. My name's Dylan, and today we're going to be looking at some stories from the subreddit Tales from the Squad Car. So sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Officer: I also speak Korean. Some background information on myself. I'm a large white man from Nebraska, standing at 6'3", who enjoys lifting weights and coaching my son's football team. I also spent 20 years in the military, did 3 years as a contractor for the army after retiring. During my years in the army, I spent 12 of which in Korea and 3 additional as a contractor. I also met my wife in Korea and learned Korean during this time as well. I've been told my Korean is quite good, and I've been a cop for the Texas Police Department for about 15 years. So now that you've got some background, let's jump into the story. I was assigned a rookie officer to help give him some on-the-job training. There isn't much crime in my neck of the woods. We live in a good community, and it was the middle of the day when we clock a BMW doing 67 in a 50. We take off after the car and pull him over. By all accounts, this is looking like a pretty bog-standard everyday traffic stop. We run the plates before proceeding and everything comes out clean. I suspect this might be a good stop for my rookie to take the lead on, dip his toes in the water, shall we say. I tell the rookie that he's to take the lead and I'll stay at the back, and he's to call me if he feels that he needs assistance. He says alright and I stay back. A couple of minutes pass and I can tell that my rookie is a bit disgruntled. You might say confused. After another minute he comes back to me. I don't understand the driver. My first reaction is that the driver's drunk. Is the driver drunk? My rookie goes, no, but he doesn't appear to be drunk. I just don't understand whatever language he's speaking it in. At first I suspected Spanish, but in hindsight, if it had been Spanish, I'm sure my rookie cop would have been able to tell if the driver was speaking Spanish. So I take over, walk up and ask for the regular documents, and to my surprise the driver says in Korean, I'm sorry, I don't understand English. In Korean. I smile and say in Korean, oh, you speak Korean too? Which the driver turns abruptly and is staring at me with this look of horror on his face. Then he goes, you don't look Korean, how did you learn Korean? I smiled and said, I met my wife in Korea when I was stationed there during my time in Korea. She taught me Korean. He's stumbling over himself. You know damn well he has no idea that this tall white officer could speak Korean. I smile and go, we pulled you over for speeding. I'm gonna need you to give me your license, registration and insurance. He provides me with the documents and I go back to the car to do my thing. His driving record's pretty clean, a couple of minor infractions over the years, but nothing for him to write home about. However, I noticed a couple of things. He stapled his insurance cards from the USAA together from expired to current over the course of 3 years, which means he's somehow affiliated with the military at some point, as he has a standard Texas driver's license, which I suspect means he can speak English. Nevertheless, let's write this man a ticket and move on with our day. I write him a ticket, come back and explain all the details in Korean. This is a pretty easy traffic stop, so before I let him go I asked, how did you learn Korean? And in English, which is the first time he's spoken to me in English, he says, I was also in the army as a linguistic. I say, that makes sense. Hey, before you go, I'm going to put into the system attached to your driver's license that you do speak English. So next time you get pulled over, don't pretend like you don't speak English. He looks at me with a defeated look and goes, sorry officer, thank you officer, and off he goes. The guy must have been cursing his luck. What are the odds? Thanks for the amusing mental image of a cop in Texas causing this man to shocked Pikachu. State Trooper, we don't catch the smart ones. We received a few speeding complaints from some residents who lived along a long straight road near the outskirts of our jurisdiction. Closest backup was about an hour away. Unfortunately, that road was also a main thoroughfare for commuters. The residents always wanted more enforcement, claiming people would drag race down the street and do 100 mph during commute hours. It was a 55 zone. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, so I would sit on that road a few times a week, pretty much always in the same spot. I spotted a car coming at me doing a steady 85 miles an hour. Once the driver finally saw me, he slowed as he passed, but it was too late. I stopped him and planned to write a ticket. Good afternoon, I'm Trooper 2 Blue Zebras with the Reddit State Troopers. The reason I stopped you is because of your speed. I need to see your driver's license, registration and proof of insurance. Regular guy aside from looking like he enjoyed lifting weights. He had the triangle build with a small waist and broad shoulders. Dang it, I'm probably getting a ticket out of this. Do you sit there a lot? Yes, I do. Man, I thought so. I saw you there a couple of weeks ago. I was just running late today and didn't think about it. He provided all of his information. I checked it all through my car computer and everything returned fine. I decided to check him for warrants as well. I didn't have any particular suspicion that he had a warrant, but I had the time. We don't do this every stop because it roughly doubles how long the stops take. To my surprise, the computer returned that he had a warrant for a drug charge. Our policy is if someone has a warrant, they get arrested. Not every agency does that, as some require warrants with a minimum fine amount. I had dispatch confirm the warrant, and it still showed as active. Another unit heard the radio traffic and went en route to help me, but they were quite far away. I went back up to the driver. Sir, please step out of the car for me. Am I going to jail? I don't take people to jail for speeding. Then why do I have to get out? I'll explain it all in a second. He started to cry and rested his head on the steering wheel. Can I call my girlfriend? We can figure that out in a few minutes. Right now I need you to do exactly what I'm telling you to do and step out. My backup being 1 hour away was heavy on my mind at this point. Luckily he stepped out. I went to put him in handcuffs and could feel that even though he was shorter than me, he was significantly stronger than I was. I used 2 sets of handcuffs together to make one long handcuff because his shoulders were so broad I could barely get his hands together behind his back with only one pair. He asked again, am I going to jail? I told him about the warrant, which he claimed he thought was taken care of, which happens to everyone with a warrant. Can I call my girlfriend to pick the car up? Being in the middle of nowhere, a tow truck would have easily been a 45-minute wait and I didn't want to sit around for that long. Where would she be coming from? She's right up the road, at the gas station. We were going to meet there. She's already on her way, she should be here within 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, his girlfriend arrived. I recognised the car. I had written her a speeding ticket in the same spot literally 2 weeks prior. I released the car to the girlfriend and headed to the jail. First priority when someone's in your custody is to get them to the jail. We're not supposed to hang on for them for any longer than we need to, or it runs into some pretty tricky constitutional issues. So it's really frustrating when someone commits a violation right in front of me, like the pickup truck I was behind. We were stuck behind a truck that was behind another car doing roughly the speed limit. I watched as the truck hugged the left side of the lane, looking like they were going to make a pass. But the road was divided with a solid double yellow line, meaning that would be illegal. And no one would be as dumb as to make an illegal pass with a fully marked police car directly behind them. This truck driver was that dumb. He passed, I pulled him over. The guy I arrested asked me excitedly, "Are we making a traffic stop right now?" "Yes sir, sorry for the inconvenience, but I can't ignore what I just saw." I couldn't take the time to issue a ticket, so I basically told the pickup driver what an idiot he was, not to do it again, and sent him on his way. Hopefully being stopped and talked to was enough to correct the behaviour. The next week we got the broadcast of the same pickup truck passing on double yellow lines. That's one example of why I prefer writing tickets. The guy I arrested was completely cooperative for the rest of the way. I just simply found it amazing that he knew I parked at that spot, his girlfriend had got speeding tickets there, and yet he still chose to speed there. If I was ever in the back of a police car and the officer went to make a stop, I'd be so excited. Like, if you're going to be arrested anyway, you might as well get the behind the scenes look at things and watch the officer do another traffic stop. Or better yet, a high-speed chase. Provided no one got hurt, watching/participating in a high-speed chase from the backseat of a patrol car sounds pretty fun to me. State Trooper, an uncanny ability. Like all cops, I went through a training phase right after I graduated from the academy. I worked graveyards on my 3rd section of my training, and the primary thing troopers care about on graveyards is catching and arresting drunk or impaired drivers. My instructor and I came across an older car on the freeway that had an expired registration. We stopped it to make sure that they weren't also drunk. I contacted the occupants and found 2 guys. Good evening, the reason I stopped you is because your registration appears to be expired. Yeah, I've just been trying to work on that. I actually just got stopped by a city cop for the same thing. Look, he gave me a ticket for it. He handed me the ticket, which showed while he was stop and cited about an hour ago. Okay, I'll need to see your driver's license. I don't have one of those, but here's my ID. We went back to my car, checked the guy's history, and found he had a suspended license 4 times over. My instructor asked me, what do you think we should do? He wasn't drunk, so any more time spent with him seemed wasted. I say we exercise the same discretion as the other cop that stopped him earlier. He already has a ticket, so tell him to get it fixed and send him on his way. My instructor shook his head. No, this guy's going to jail and his car's getting towed. He obviously doesn't care that he doesn't have a license, and his license is suspended because he keeps getting tickets he's ignoring. Maybe a night in jail and an impounded car will teach him something. Sure, makes sense, he continued, but his passenger needs a ride someplace safe. And did you see him? He's a big mother He needs to be put in handcuffs and then we can give him a ride. Get it done. That passenger was about 6'4" and 300 pounds. I'm not that size. I got the driver out and arrested him on driving on a suspended license and put him in my car. Then I went up to the passenger. Here's what's going on. Your buddy is going to jail for driving while suspended. You haven't broken any laws, but we can't have you walking on a freeway, so we're going to give you a ride to a safe location. To do that, I have to search you for weapons and put you in handcuffs. Any problems with that? No, sir. And so it went. Fast forward a couple of weeks and the decision to mandate more training or to let me be by myself came up. All my prior instructors met with supervisor and discussed my performance. The instructor from that night, who didn't like my call on how to handle the situation, likes my call on how I handled the passenger. Another one of my instructors later told me, that guy went to bat for you. Me and the other trainer wanted you to have a little bit more training, but you know what he said? He said, he's good with people, he has the uncanny ability to talk people into compliance. That's what got you off training. Who knew talking to people like people could work out so well? Yeah, now I've read this general negotiating tip from a book by Chris Voss. Saying no makes people more comfortable because it makes them feel like they're in control. Phrasing a question in a way where someone will say yes to you by saying no usually makes it easier to get the answer that you want. So some examples are, instead of saying on a phone call, do you have a minute, say, is now a bad time? Instead of saying, can I have this, say, would I be crazy to ask for this from you? And instead of saying, can I put you in handcuffs, say, I need to put you in handcuffs. Any problem with that? People are like puppies. Some are not too bright, but the most will do stuff for people that make them feel good. Puppies repeat actions that end up with feels goods. Beat the puppy, get a snarling dog. Right folks, that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like rating down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.